this has been going on for days, guys. They've been renovating the house for so many months. I think it's for 2 months. Yeah, almost 2 months. So every time when I'm recording, I have to wait when it's quiet, and I'll just snatch the opportunity to kind of say a few lines before I have to stop. Welcome back. Hope you guys are as excited as I am for today's video, because we are going to be talking about the seamless in-camera transitions that I always use. There are a lot to cover in this video, so I'm going to show you a few transitions that I commonly use when I'm shooting. Specifically, the fill in the frame, whip pan, and frame blocking or masking transition. Most of these transitions are extremely simple to do and can almost be done without any editing at all, or just some slight fine-tuning to kind of perfect the transition. So usually when I go out to shoot for a B-roll, a vlog sequence or a cinematic shot, I'll usually plan out the transitions that I want to use beforehand. If you guys watch some of my older videos, you can see some of the same transitions that I'll be showing you in today's video. So transitions are obviously just fancy edits to make your footage look so much better, but to make them feel more intentional, or like you meant to put the transition in that certain part of the video, you gotta shoot for the edit before bringing them to post. This will give you a way better results and make your footage look so much better, and you provide a less bumpy experience for the viewer. To be honest, I'm also really guilty of not planning ahead before I shoot my video. So when I come to post, I'll be struggling so much to make my transitions look better or make my video look better, but in the end or the final product, you can see those imperfections in between. I get it that sometimes when you add these transitions without planning ahead, it kind of works in your video, but most of the time it doesn't, and if you force that certain transition to be in that video, you can see like it just doesn't fit in there. You can tell it breaks continuity, and instead of making your transition feel more seamless or intentional, it's just kind of make it feel weird, or like it doesn't fit, like that certain transition just doesn't fit in that clip, and you can tell it doesn't provide that cohesive feeling when you use a seamless transition properly. Now that's out of the way, the first transition that I'll be talking about is fill in the frame. Essentially what it meant is to cover up the footage with a certain object that has the same color or texture as the second object in the second clip. So you gotta keep that in mind when you're shooting. It can be your hand covering the camera, or matching the color of your wall to your table, hence the name fill in the frame. So when you put those two clips together, you can see it blends really well and feel extremely seamless. I'm gonna be saying the word seamless a lot today, so wear your seatbelt. Anyways, there's one point that I almost forgot to point out, is that the contrast of the clips must be the same or almost the same. But sometimes if you get two clips that have slightly different contrast, there are a few methods that you can use to kind of resolve this problem. So the first method is usually the technique that I would commonly use, which is to color grade them so they match with each other. But sometimes, you know, like you want this clip to have certain color grade and that clip to have certain color grade, but they kind of have slight difference, so you can't kind of change it. So that's where method 2 comes. So this is kind of like a cheat, like a secret cheat that I kind of use myself, which is to use cross dissolve when you are cutting in between them. I know cross dissolve seems like a really amateurish transition, but if you use it properly, you can actually barely see it happening. Another easy transition that you can do is called the whip pan. So to do this transition is to whip your camera to a certain direction and then follow up the same direction with the second clip. And just with a little spin, you'll be able to sell off the effect really easily. The direction of the clip must be the same, or else it's gonna break immersion or kinda destroy the flow of the video. Usually we don't notice this, maybe some of you do, but subconsciously when we follow the flow of direction of the video, it kinda makes it feel a lot more seamless. The direction of the clips are really important so that you do not break continuity in your video. So let's say you take like a few clips that are all panning to the right and you put them together. Since you intentionally put all of those clips that are panning to the right together, it's already a transition in itself because you are keeping the flow of the video. I'm not saying that all the clips must be panning to the same direction. Sometimes you can make it flow from the right, then go up, then to the left and back down in a loop or cycle depending on you. Go crazy with them, and this actually gives a 3D-like effect. But the simple rule you must remember is not to break the flow of direction. So the reason why the whip pan transition works is essentially because of the motion blur when you whip the camera. We usually won't notice the hard cut in between when we whip the camera, but to make it feel more intentional or seamless, you need to try to make sure that you don't cut where the clip is darker than the other. Like the contrast shouldn't be night and day. You shouldn't cut in between clips that are dark. One is like extremely dark and one is extremely light. This is like an extreme example, but even the slightest difference can kind of make it look weird. And also don't forget about the 180 shutter angle rule, which is to set your shutter speed double of your frame rate, so your motion blur look natural. And this brings us to the final transition that we're going to be talking about, which is the frame blocking or masking transition. This transition kind of requires a little more work than the last two that I've talked about, but it's all totally worth it for that final product. So essentially how this transition works is when you have a certain object passing by your frame and you mask that certain part, so when it passes by it just cuts to a different way. So it can be your hand, a tree, or a person running past your camera. Those are the objects that you can use to mask and make this transition happen. So kind of to make you understand a little bit more, I'm gonna show you an example over here. If I put these two clips together and just make it a hard cut, you can see it doesn't fit together really well. So to tie these two clips together, you can just add this transition and the results will be so much better and make it seems a lot more smoother, and it doesn't feel like it breaks the continuity, and it feels a lot more intentional when you watch it back, and just overall extremely seamless. So to do this transition, jump into editing software and put these two clips on top of each other. Since I'm using DaVinci Resolve 16, I'll show you how to do it there. But if you guys are using some other editing software like Premiere or Final Cut, it's almost the same. After you have put those two clips together, just go to the color tab and you can see that there's a node tree on the top right. Just right click on the empty space and select Add Alpha Output and connect the blue dots together. Now just activate the keyframe and draw a mask onto the gap where the object just perfectly passes through the frame. And repeat the step for every frame. Another way that you can use to save a lot of your time is to track your mask. So to do this is to go to the tracking tab and then go to the frame where the object perfectly passes through it and draw your mask there. After that, just track forward and wait for the process to be done. Sometimes the tracking isn't very perfect, so go back to those frames and kind of fix it a little bit, fine tune them and make them look better. So the final step to really sell this effect is to add softness to the mask so it blends both of the clip properly. And just like that, we have come to the very end of the video. I hope this video actually helped you guys out and maybe you can try to put this transition inside your future videos. Anyways, feel free to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification button if you enjoyed this video, as I would really appreciate it. I make these videos once a week, so feel free to tune in. Anyways, before I go, I want to make a pun. And I want to make a pun. A really bad pun. Since I see my... Oh my god. Since, oh my god, I can't say the word properly. Since I say the word seamless a lot, so I'll see you soon, guys. Oh my god, that's such a bad time. Alright, bye bye.